Alright, notes 5.3. Today we're going to be talking about circumference and area of circles. So a circle is a set of all points in a plane that are equal distance from a given point in a plane known as the center of the circle. The distance r is known as the radius, and the distance d equals 2r is known as the diameter. So you have the center, which is in the middle, now the radius. All these points around the circle are equal distance from that center of the point. And the diameter, it's two radiuses because it goes from the center to the end, and then it goes through the center and to the other end. So there's two of those radiuses that give it to the diameter. Now, to find the circumference of a circle, so the circumference is equal to 2 pi r, or it's also pi d. So 2 pi r, so 2 times pi times the radius, or just pi times the diameter, because 2 times r is also the diameter. So if we want to find the circumference of each circle, give your answers exactly in terms of pi and then round it to 2 decimal points places. What that means is we have to give it as pi, since we know that pi is an irrational number, it never ends. We give it in our exact answer, we use pi, and then we can also round it to 2 decimal places. So if we want to find the circumference, so we know that circumference is 2 pi r, and we know that r is 4, so our circumference is 2 pi times 4, so circumference is 8 pi. That's the exact answer, or we simply do 8 pi and we get the circumference is 25.13. Now that is our rounded answer to 2 decimal places. So now for the next one, we know that the diameter is 10. Well, we know that circumference is pi d. Alright, pi times the diameter, so circumference is pi times 10. So it's just, I would write it as 10 pi. That's the exact answer. Our rounded answer is going to be the circumference equals 31.4. So we just do 10 times pi, and when we get that, we get 31. Actually, it's going to be the 2 decimal places. So it's 31.42, 2 decimal places. And if we look at the next thing, just move this up. Alright, so if we want to find the area, so the area of a circle, area is pi r squared. So we know that the area is pi times the radius squared. So in this first example, we know that the radius is 3, so if I want to find the area in exact terms of pi and also rounded, so area is pi r squared, so area equals pi times 3 squared, so my area is going to be 9 pi. That's my exact answer, and then I can also just do 9 pi, and 9 pi is going to give me 28.27. So that is my answer rounded to 2 decimal places. So we have an exact answer, which is in terms of pi, and also rounded at 2 decimal places. Now to find the area of circle B, area is pi r squared. Now it tells us r, well, it gives us the diameter. We can't just put diameter in there, so we have to figure out what the radius is. So we know that d equals 2r, so 7 equals 2r. The radius equals 7 divided by 2, which is 3.5. So we know that the radius is 3.5. So we have pi times 3.5 squared. So 3.5 squared gives us 12.25. So our area is 12.25 pi. Now that's in our exact answer in terms of pi. And then we can figure out our rounded answer. We just simply do 12.25 times pi. So our answer rounded 2 decimal places is 38.48. So that's our rounded answer. So we have an exact answer, and then we also have our rounded answer. Now if we want to practice a few of these, it says find the circumference and area of each. So it says to use 3.14 for pi and round your answers to the nearest tenth. So it just tells us we want to round them, so we don't want the exact answers. So number 8, our radius is 6. So to find the circumference, that's 2 pi r. So circumference is going to be 12 pi, and 12 pi, so 12 times 3.14 is 37.68. So that's the circumference. I'll do all the circumferences for these three and go back and do the areas. This is actually, it should be 37.7 because it says round to the nearest tenth. Number 9, so circumference is 2 pi r. So we have 2 times 10, which is going to give us 20 pi. And then 20 times 3.14 gives the circumference as 62.8. And number 10, we know that the diameter is 18, which means our radius is 9. So we have circumference is 2 pi r. Circumference is 2 pi times 9, so it's 18 pi, which we multiply by 3.14. So 18 times 3.14 gives a circumference of 56.5. And we can go back and now find the area. Area is pi r squared, so we know that the radius is 6, so area is 36 pi. And 36 times 3.14, that's 113 pi. Or not, it's just 113 is the area. So we have pi r squared, so radius is 10, so that's going to be 100 pi, so that's going to be 314. And now we know that the radius is 9, so 9 squared, so we're going to get the area is 81 pi, and 81 times 3.14, 81 times 3.14 gives us 254.3. Alright, so now we'll skip 11, 12, and 13. It's just more practice. Instead of using pi, we're using 22 divided by 7. If we look at 14, it says C equals 12. So it says the circumference is 12. So we have our formula, which is circumference is 2 pi r. So we have 12 equals 2 pi r. To solve this, we want to divide by 2. So we have 2 pi. So we know, let me erase this. We know that 12 divided by 2 is 6. So we get 6 divided by pi is our radius. So that's in terms of pi. And to figure out that's our exact answer. To figure out our rounded answer, we do 6 divided by pi, which gives us a radius of approximately 1.9 rounded to the tenths. So that's number 14. We'll do 15 and then 18 and 19. So if our circumference is 62.8, so once again we have circumference is 2 pi r. We know that it's 62.8 equals 2 pi r. We divide by 2 pi. So r is by itself. Divide by 2 pi. So 62.8 divided by the 2 gives us 31.4 divided by pi is our radius. And then we can actually do 31.4 divided by the pi to give us a radius which is about, it's 9.99, which rounded will give us approximately 10. So that's our rounded answer, and that is our exact answer. And then we'll do 18 and 19 because this is for area. Well, we know that area equals pi r squared. Well, if the area is 50, so we get 50 pi r squared. So now we have to solve this for the radius. We gotta get rid of the pi, so we divide by pi. So now we have 50 pi equals r squared. Well, what does r equal? Well, we gotta take the square root of this. So r equals the square root of 50 divided by pi. So if we take the square root of 50 divided by pi, it gives us about 3.989 rounded. Our radius will be about 4. So the radius is approximately 4. So we have our exact answer and our rounded answer. And if we look at this last one, it says the area is 100 pi. Well, area equals pi r squared. So if we know that the area is 100 pi, pi r squared, divide by pi, the pi's cross off. So 100 equals r squared. And once again, we have to take the square root of this. So our radius is equal to 10. And then there's those next sets of questions. I'm going to pause for like 30 seconds and I'll put the answers up, and you can pause it. You can practice, you can try them, you can look at them, you can try to do all of them now, and then check your answers. You do what you want to do with it, but I'm going to put up the answers so you'll have the answers. Tomorrow in class we'll go through any questions you have with any of these. So I'll give you a few seconds so if you want to work on them, just pause the video now, work on the problems, and then I'll put the answers up. And then here are the answers to 21 through 27. So if you wanted to try these, we'll go over all these. Once again, it gives the answer in terms of pi and the exact answer. So here's the answers. You can just pause it, look at them, copy them down, whatever you want to do with them. And we'll answer any questions tomorrow.